Niiamah here, and today we have an incredible treat for you here on the Outliers Edge Live Roundtable. We are gathering here to challenge your thinking and help you really step into what could go beyond what everyone else thinks is possible. What happens when you start to get into the improbable and actually challenge yourself to keep creating in the way that you've been doing and continue to climb the next mountain. Today we have a guest here that's done just that over and over and over again. And I'm very, very excited to introduce you all to Dave Valentine. Dave, thank you so much for being here on the Outliers Edge Roundtable.
Such an honor, Niiamah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So the way we're going to play this game is that I actually want to know what game you're playing. So would you help Outliers know? Tell us more about you and the game you're playing.
Yeah. So let's see. I've been in the digital marketing industry for the past 21 years, which makes me an absolute dinosaur.
Hmm.
But digital marketing is just the vehicle for the game that I'm actually playing. The game that I'm actually playing is about life transformation, and doesn't matter if that's happening through people discovering and uncovering their skill set to run a business or to launch a brand or to do a creative project, or it's actually learning how to navigate their life in a more cogent way that leads to more fulfilling, audacious, loving, expansive reality for them. Really, what I'm up to is helping people find themselves in the midst of this thing that we call life.
You know, Dave, I really appreciate that perspective and framing as we come into this conversation. Uh, because it's as I'm talking to more and more people, I realize that you can tell the people who have almost like what the short term game is versus the long term game.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is like your day to day game, or actually you're I'm here. That how did you describe it? I wanted to write it down, but I missed your exact words. What did you how did you say that the game you playing?
Yeah. So digital marketing is the
Not the
vehicle.
digital marketing part. Yeah, the game above it.
Oh yeah, the game above it. It's about helping people really become their fullest self, right?
Yeah,
So whether that's running a business or doing a creative project or
yeah,
simply enjoying their life more. These are all things that I've been working on for myself, and so like
yeah.
I feel a lot, brother, that my role in my friend groups, my role in a lot of conversations with other people is to go first for a lot of my
Mhm.
friends. I go to do the thing that people are afraid to do. Not always the first, but usually I'm the first. And so then other people gain confidence and clarity. And oh well, if Dave can do this, then I can go do this. And there's a lot of that that just leads to a more fruitful and fulfilling life for a lot more people.
Dave, you're speaking my language here. Because outliers, we are one of the first, one of a kind, or one of the only in the things that we do,
Yeah.
right? And there's something in what you said that's giving me a little bit of goosebumps because for a long, uh, when I experienced life from the standpoint of uh, people coming to me like, well, I can't do that. Little Niiamah did that. I was Nemo. That was my nickname at the time. They're like, well, that's easy for you to do, Niiamah. That's how they would say it. That was easy for you to do, Niiamah. And I remember thinking about that. I'm like, no, it actually wasn't easy for me to do. And I'm really curious as to why you think it is easy for me to do. And what eventually ended up happening was I was like, oh, they look at what happened externally from an identity lens. They're saying my identity is not that of Nemo or Niiamah, and thus I am not able to do such actions. My identity is not that of Dave. And so, what I love is that you brought in this thing where you learn how to transform it, where you realize that, wait a minute, if I go first, then they'll realize in my mind, they're like, well, Dave can do it. There's that energy of
Yeah.
well, hey, we're not that different. We can come in.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving me a little bit more about that philosophy? It's a beautiful one. I haven't got a chance to explore that with anyone.
Yeah, yeah. So I came up with a story a while back, and I think it really illustrates. I came across this story rather. I think it
Mhm.
illustrates really what I'm up to. So there's this man who lived in this village, and for as long as he could remember, he had been in shackles, like actual physical chains, and he was able to walk around the village however he wanted, but he was just walking always in chains, and it was incredibly painful. It was burdensome. He could never quite build a house the way that he wanted to. He never got married, and he became an old man. And one day, this little boy walks up to him, maybe 3 or 4, about the same age that he had of his earliest memory. And he said to the man, he goes, "Hey, why are you so sad?" And he said, "Well, I've always been in chains. This is what I'm doing, and my roof just collapsed, and I can't build it on my own. I need help, and no one wants to help me anymore." And he said, "But you can be free." And he said, "No, I can't. I'm in chains. Don't you see? I'm in chains, and I've got this problem." Da, da." And the boy goes, "No, no, no. There's a key in the lock on your ankle." And he goes, "No, there's not. The man that put me, he said that I'll never get out until he allows me to get out." And the boy looks down and he pulls up the lock and he shows him, he goes, "Look, there's a key." And the man unlocks his shackles on his ankles. And then he takes the key out and it unlocks the shackles on his hands and he walks free. And my role as a person in society is to be that child. It's not to unlock anybody else's own prison that they've created for themselves. And we all create constraints, right? It's just to point out that every single one of us had the keys the whole time, man. And whatever you think is holding you back is just a projection. It's a lie that you've been telling yourself. And I just happen to be one of those people that gets to point out very playfully, like a small child, you had the keys the whole time. We all do.
So there's something in there that I really love. One, I was getting goosebumps throughout it. Two, like what I got is that like you brought in the child, right? So like however the story is, like you like I got that you actually identified as like with that childlikeness and there's a thing that I had to make a distinction for myself because I'll say like what game are you playing, right? Like that is not me being childish. It is me being
Right.
childlike for a very specific intent, right? To be able to create wonder, to be able to create playfulness, and to be able to honestly just distract people from the day-to-day thinking that is getting them the results that they have. Like, and I'll go into this story here, the chains that they're in, and being like, and like, I think my thing is almost like without having them know, I'm like, hey, by the way, do you want to go play ball? They're like, yeah, I would love to. I'm like, all right, great, just unbuckle yourself and let's go. And they're like, oh yeah, let me just go. Like, oh okay, yeah, let's like, I can just unbuckle. Like, all right, let's go. You know,
Yeah.
but there's something in it that I get about you, which I think is it feels like your authentic spirit comes through. And I'm not trying to say this in like a highfalutin way. What I mean is that like I feel like you show up in a world that you haven't denied yourself. And that ends up being really powerful, both in what you do. And I know that like you talked about like marketing being the vehicle, right? And what I have found and what I've been trying to learn and express out there is like it's like I'm like, oh, I thought that being an outlier meant being different, and I'm like, that nothing could be further from the truth. Being an outlier means being true, being authentic. And as a result of
Yeah.
you being the only person like you on this planet, out of 9 billion people, that's going to be inherently different because there's literally no one else like you, right? So Dave, let me get your thoughts on any of these things here, but I can see how like who you are is a testament to what you do out in the world.
Yeah, dude, I love where your head's at too, brother. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I totally align with what you're saying. And there's a thing that's occurred, right? As we've gotten, there's so many positive things that have happened as technology has expanded. We've become more interconnected. We understand that all of us are so similar, even in our small ways that we are different. We're starting to have a collective realization that the only people that are really against us are the people that are trying to extract as much value as they can out of the lion's share of us, right? And it's only about 3,000 people on the planet that fit this motif. And so the rest of us really are working collaboratively. It's why there's a hunger for less violent conflict, right? Because we understand in a fresh way as a species, the only people that win here are the people that are in power. The rest of us end up becoming cannon fodder for the war. It's
Mhm.
weird and it's odd. And so there's this desire that's being birthed within humanity in these moments for connection, for authenticity, for um, really a unity of spirit amongst us as again, as a species. And when I think about one person becoming who they really are, the power in that is so profound.
Mm.
Like, I love, there's this spiritual teacher who I've followed for years, and he has this great line, and he says, the only thing that I can do for you is work on myself. And
Mm.
so often I find that to be the most true and rich expression of life. I'm married, I have 3 kids.
Nice.
I have a staff of 48 people. Like, there's all these people that I interact with on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. If I transform who Dave is to be a more whole, healthy, loving, generous human, that Dave gets to help thousands of people. And that's the game, right? And so it's finding those spaces and playing in those areas, and not taking life so seriously. I always say, nothing serious, that's a joke. But you can
Mm.
play life sincerely, right? So, like, it's weird if you play Monopoly with a friend or a family member and they land on one of your properties and they pound the table and they start cursing at you, and it's like, that's weird. However, it's funny to play the game sincerely, right? Like, they're coming close to your, maybe you've got Park Place. You're like, ooh, you're getting close. You're going to land on it. I got a couple of houses on there. You're about to pay me. Like, that's sincerely playing the game. That's fun. That's wink, wink, nod, nod. That's humor. And that's how the universe really works.
Well, I really enjoy this, like, this component of it all, right? Like, because you're calling it sincerity, and it's giving me a chance to, like, sink in a little bit on it. Like, there's a distinction that wants to bubble up as a result of it. I often would describe it as, like, intensity, but I think that I'm hearing, like, what I've been, like, broadly saying as intense is actually just sincere. You know, it's genuine, and that genuine element is what comes, like, I'm legitimately having fun right now, and I'm not doing this at to hurt or to, like, but there's a way that I take this seriously. I take this game seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. It's like
Yeah.
there's like there are these minor distinctions that let you go all in with what it is
Yeah.
that you're doing without, like, having to give up yourself to be able to do it. Like I used to really love playing craps, like, whenever I go on, like, vacation. And I remember
I
one
love
time
that.
going to like, do I even want to tell this story? And I have
It's
this
great.
game that I play inside where I'm like, oh, this is gonna be too much. That's why I'm like, oh, I have to say it, right? Because otherwise it's gonna have power over me. Otherwise I'm gonna show up, like, smaller. And so, like, instead I'm like, all right, let's lean into it. But I'm also uncomfortable, which is why I'm giving all this disclaimer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember going to the Bahamas and playing craps there. And there was this one person, and he was next to me. Like, generally, I would assume he was a nice person, but, like, he came in and we were all playing, like, together. We're like, oh, let's, like, put it on the five, do all the things that you do in craps. But then he came in, he's like, he put it on the don't pass bar. And what that means, y'all, if you haven't played this, not to get into it all, but it's like you're generally, like, on the side of the house. You're typically, like, against the rest of the table when that happens. And I remember two things. One, I remember this person sitting there. I can still see his face, his whole demeanor at that table, where he was just leaning in, like veins bulging, like, just, like, concentrating hard on it all there. And I tried. I went to try and join him on that line. And I realized, I was
Hmm.
like, it was the most boring game, like, it was boring and boring. I was like, I felt sad inside, and it's because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like we weren't being collaborative. We weren't working together toward building something. I feel like that's something that you bring to the table, Dave. What are your thoughts on that? How do you like to play around?
Yeah. I think that I'm always trying to invite people into the play, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's, I mean, just like you were saying, like, come on, like, let's just go play soccer together. Like,
yeah,
like, so often what I see dear friends, acquaintances do is we get into these narratives of should, of have to, of this is the right way. And I think that there are things that are really helpful. And sometimes the shoulds and there's a right way align with things that are helpful.
mm,
And other times, brother, like, let's be real. Other times, I would say most of the time, those ideas are keeping us small. They're
Mm.
keeping us serious. They're keeping us bitter. They're keeping us safe. And what ends up happening as a result is that our souls are not made of finite materials. And they are made of what is infinite, right? And so this infinity doesn't like to play within the constrictions of a finite mind that is attempting to keep us in these tiny boxes. And it's
Mm.
screaming to us, live. You've got more. There is more to this thing. Like another way to look at it is, and I ask friends this often, I'm like, okay, if your life was a movie and you're the main character, what would each and every one of the audience members be screaming at you right now to go do or to stop doing? And
Mm.
they all, when I ask this question, people go, oh my God, holy crap. Like there's just this visceral feeling, right? Of like, what did you just do to me? And it's like, yes, and I do this daily. Like,
Wow,
I'm
this
not
is
asking you to do anything that I don't do myself. Everything that I share with you right here, and if you're listening, you're like, man, this is really helpful. I do these things to myself
okay.
on a regular basis, right? Because I'm like, I never want to play small and get to the end of my life and regret not doing things that really were in me.
So we're gonna have to like just like take a second on this real quick here. Uh, Dave, I want you to, if you don't mind, ask that question again that you asked of your friends. One, I also get what it's like to be friends with you now, right? You see this,
Yeah,
but like this is it. Like this, but like what I also see is like this is the sincere you, right? Like you're
yeah,
going to ask questions like this. You're going to come in like if you want to be there. Veronica, if we can put that back on the screen, I want to make sure outliers get a chance to spend some time with that question. Yeah, thanks. Like we get a chance to. It's a really profound one, like what would the audience be screaming at you right now? Like I'm thinking about
yeah,
that, like for myself. And this is what like this moment. Like you have a team of 48 people. There's so many other things you could be doing in your life, and yet you still find that like you're not getting into the tactics of things. You're helping to expand their thinking. They're helping to go out. And to your point, I see this question right here. If your life was a movie and you were the main character, what is the audience screaming at you right now? Like that's like the looking at the chain and the key being in the lock and being able to undo it. You're like, I don't have the answer for you. I'm not screaming at you, you know, but like you know what the audience would be saying. You know what that would be, you know, and so like why don't like lean into that a bit there. Do you want to share any more about that? Like I think there's you're
yeah.
bringing up a lot for me when it comes in. I'll play with you
Yeah, I
on it.
love that, man. Yeah. Yeah, my belief system is that I'm allergic, I think is the best way to put it. I'm allergic to any sort of belief system that mandates that you have to move in a specific way in order to be in, right? So like
Mhm.
I came from a tradition, I'm actually an ordained pastor. It makes me laugh on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm really cognizant of is that everyone's expression of their most fulfilling, beautiful, outlandish, outlier-ish life is different. It's unique because we're each a unique fingerprint of the divine. And so I look at it and I go, man, what you're going to do is going to be just fundamentally different than what I'm going to do, and that's not a flaw. That's a gift, man. Like
Yeah.
that's the most outlandish gift we've ever been given is there's 9 billion unique individuals that are all existing in this exact same moment in time and that we all have unique different wildly uh, complementary and helpful gifts and ideas of what the most beautiful life could look like for us. And so, really, it's an invitation to say, no, you don't get to have this spoon fed to you. That's what big organizations, corporations love to do. Here, just eat this. It doesn't matter if you don't like the flavor, it's the only one you get. No, 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 each of us have something really beautiful to bring to the table and we have our own unique flavor, and that's really the game here is like helping people question their own life in such a way that they arrive at their own conclusions. And sometimes, again, sometimes that means you stay in the relationship, sometimes that means you keep the job but you do the side project late at night, sometimes that means you have the kid, you start the business, you do the I don't know. It's so unique and it's so individualistic and it's so worth exploring because that's what really lights people up, and that's what makes everyone have a life that truly is on the outliers.
So like this is fun for me as we're having this. I'm like, oh yeah, Dave, like you get it. We like if there was Kool-Aid, I'd be like, get me another cup of this. I'm all in, right? Like with that being said, that like I'm now gonna play the game for like any outliers that's out there that's like, okay, like, but how does this all work, right? So you talked about the marketing company you have, the digital marketing company you have as a vehicle. And I wanna like spend a little bit of time like seeing like how do you bridge like being the CEO of this organization, having a 48 person team, like how do you bridge these things that people might be like, oh, that's nice. And maybe if I go to a, a 7 day retreat, or I go to like someone's like conference I can go and do, or maybe in my car I can go and ask that. But like it is like I can't necessarily use it in my day to day. And I'm like, I think that you figured out something that most other people here may not like be putting together. And I would love for you to speak to that if you may.
Yeah. It wasn't always this way. I didn't always have a big team. I didn't always have people around me. I didn't always have success. When I started my first business, I knew I was 25 years old. I knew very little of what I was actually doing to run a business. I knew kind of how to do some digital marketing and advertising. Like I knew more than a lot of people because I was young and I was a digital native and everything was kind of happening as I was growing up. Like a thing that I like to do now that's you'll enjoy, Niiamah, is I told my staff not too long ago, I was talking to a junior staff member and I was talking about how I texted in tweets and they're like, you did what? And I was like, well, yeah, because it was before smartphones. So like you either got on like a laptop, desktop, or you texted in a tweet, and they're like, "That is crazy," like, and it's so funny because I'm like, that was only 2007. That wasn't that long ago, and then I go, "Oh crap, that was 19 years ago." Um,
Right,
so
right.
yeah, where did that go?
Yeah. Oh no.
So uh, so man, it wasn't always this way, and I had to follow this path in order to get where I am now. Right.
Mm,
So like I think that there's this idea
mm,
of when the money comes in, when things are more stable, that's when I'm going to embrace who I really am.
mm,
And here's what I'd also say. No, no, we need you to embrace and sometimes this is helpful for people. And this is also true. You need to do it for yourself. And
mm,
also, we need you to do it for us.
mm, mm,
You're robbing us of your gifts. You're robbing the world of what is in your heart, what is in your mind, what is in your soul. You are robbing us of the greatness that is in you, right? And so, like, sometimes it helps because some people get hung up on themselves and they're like, I
mhm,
don't want to do it for myself. Oh, but I will do it for other people. And then other
mhm,
people, it's the complete opposite. They've been such a people pleaser, they need to now
mm,
do it for themselves, right? And so, what I'd say is, I the the version of Dave that you see right now in this conversation is completely 1000% a product of me making not one decision, but thousands of decisions to embrace the uniqueness that is me
mm,
throughout my journey. And I still choose to do it. And I still ask myself this question: if my life's a movie, I mean, I asked this week, like 2 days ago, and the audience is watching. What are they screaming at the
mm,
screen? What are they yelling? Dave, why aren't you doing that? Why
mm,
can't you do that? That's the thing. And so I think that when we look at this, you're like, that sounds great. That sounds so cool. That doesn't fit in my life. The thing that I would say does fit in your life is this: you can start to make moves towards your goals and still have some practicality. So in my first business, I kept my day job and I
mhm,
worked the business. I woke up early and I worked it. I went and did the 9 to 5 thing. Then I got off work. I made dinner. I hung out with my wife and newborn daughter, and then I went back to work. And on the weekends, I worked on the business as well. And so you can do this, and there will be moments that feel like incredible sacrifice, and they will be. And then you're going to look back. My wife and I just did this recently. We looked back on the first business that we started, and just like the history of where we came from. And that first year and a half, I didn't pay myself a dime from the first business. And the next year, I paid myself a whopping $36,000, right? Like
Mm, mm,
no money.
mm, mm,
And look where I am now.
mm,
I've had this is my 11th business. I've sold 9 of the previous 10. The only other one I didn't sell was my consulting firm because it has my name on it.
mm.
What are we talking about? You know? So it's always scary until you do it.
There's something that's playing out for me as it comes in. What are the things that are playing out? One is I want to slow down when you said like I needed to become generally speaking, I need to become this person like in order to get what came in, not the other way around. It wasn't that they came in first and then I was like, oh, now I'm free to go and do it. Um, and I think that there's like if you don't mind, I'm gonna like speak honestly. I want to be sincere. I want to be genuine. I want to like be in the
Yeah.
practice of what it is. And outliers, as we're having this conversation, don't just listen to this for information. This is not like this is transformation that's happening right now, right? And so you get it like the transformation. You said you made a thousand decisions. You kept like you had to keep making choices. So my ask of you outliers right now is to make the decision to not just listen to this, but to allow it to, but like find out how you can apply and experience it in some way, right? And so Dave, like what was going for me, I realized there was a story running through my mind, and I'm happy and I'm mad a bit that you broke it, right? Which was like you're like with my first business, like, and you were talking all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, it must have been nice to be like young and have like just like be able to put all your time into it, so on and so forth. And you're like, and my wife, I was like, that's interesting. And then you're like, and my newborn child, I was like, oh no, he broke it. Like, like, and what I want to make sure I'm calling that out because I recognize the stories that I tell myself right now, the
Mm.
limitations that I might be putting on myself around how do I show up for myself, for my family, for my business, given that like, oh, I missed the window when I could have been just going all in. And oh, like there was a time when it made sense to wake up early, do late nights, go do this over the weekend. But like now I have kids, and then you're like, then Dave, you just messed the whole thing up. You know.
Yeah.
Thank you though. Thank you for
Yeah.
breaking that paradigm, right? But I always like I want to call in what you're saying here. Like
Mm.
I hear like you keep making choices along the way. Like actually, let me ask you, because I'm reflecting, I'm experiencing it in real time. Like if you had to go and like we call it an outsight. If you there was something you wanted outliers to get from this, right? Our insights are what come from us. Outsights are what we want you to get, right? So if there was an outside that you wanted to share with outliers for based on what you were just sharing right now, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Outliers, see how he's taking the time to like sit and think about this here. I think a lot of times we're expected to just go and like have a knee jerk reaction and come in here like there's depth, there's wisdom, there's truth that's coming through. So I just want to like point that out. Dave, you didn't hear me say that, but like
You know, I uh there's a lie that we are all told, and then it's reinforced tens of thousands of times throughout our childhood. There's this really interesting study that highlights this. So in kindergarten, they asked this group of kindergarten kids, how many of you are creative? Have you heard this story?
I keep going.
Okay. So they asked these kids, how many of you view yourselves as creative? And it was 96% of the class said, I'm creative. They kept going with these students, uh, asked them again, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. There was a steady decline. By the time that they hit fifth grade, only about 15% of the class, same students, said that they were creative. We have been robbed in our minds of the uniqueness and the power and the strength and the perspective that each of us hold. And it is crushing our society and it's killing so many of us. And so, what I feel deeply is that I love everybody and everybody has something beautiful to bring to the table. And if you feel like your life is in shambles, or it's not where you want it to be, or there's something more that you're aiming for, as an outside perspective, I'm also calling you into yourself. We need you to stop playing so small. We need you to stop believing so many lies about who you are. And God, please embrace the infinite, energetic, loving, spacious, creative, dynamic, intelligent, massively talented human that you are, because I have just seen it over and over again. No matter what walk of life people come from, they have they have a gift, and um, man, we're dying for you to share it with us all.
Dave, I'm deeply appreciative because I as this conversation is happening, I'm like, oh, you're using the words that I wish I was bold enough to say. And when you
Mm,
say it here, and like, I'm like, it doesn't sound as like, I'll just use the word crazy in my head. Like like it doesn't sound like you don't sound off your rocker or anything. It like because like that's it. Like outliers edges specifically. I'm like you're here for something. Let's go do it. Like and the world. I used to say like the world needs you, and people are like don't add need. I'm like but like it does. It needs you. Not like it
yeah.
doesn't need your talent. Like it doesn't need your effort. It needs you. You know. And I really feel like you believe in that and you bring that forth. Oof. We're about to start wrapping up here, but I before we do. I want to, if you don't mind, I'm going to call it the Valentine question, right? And which goes back, it's the movie one here, because
Mhm.
if you're cool with it, I'd like to use it, but I'll give credit
Yeah.
where credit is due, right? It's like in real time, like I got to ask yourself the Valentine question. Um, I think it would be really helpful and meaningful for us to answer that question right now, like with what's real for us right now. Are you open
Mm.
to that?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm an open
Okay.
book. As I
Okay.
like to say, Niiamah, I have no secrets except the ones I keep for myself.
Mm.
Ah,
Like allies get like that's profound. That's profound in there, right? It's
yeah.
because yeah. So, Dave, if your life was a movie, and you were watching it right
Mhm.
now, what would the audience be screaming at you to be doing?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. So for me, it's two things. Number one, it's write this book that I've been working, complete this book I've been working on, um,
Mm,
and it's about spirituality, it's about mysticism, and how we walk this out in our day to day lives. Because um, one of the reasons why I love mysticism, which you find in every religious tradition you've ever heard of, by the way. You have Christian mystics, you have Hindu mystics, you have Muslim mystics, you have mystics in every tradition, and they kind of sound very similar to each other, by the way, in what they think and how they operate. So it's finishing the book, and then it's launching um, a couple projects that have just been near and dear to my heart. One of them is called the Shaman CEO. It's been my working title. It's not a formal brand yet, but it's how do you navigate leading a company without losing your soul and still helping other people. And there are some things that I've done over the years that seem totally intuitive and normal to me, and then I share them with other business owners, founders, and CEOs, and they go, "That is way cool. We should do that." And then the other one is this community. I live in the mountains in the middle of nowhere in Washington State, and I live right on a river. The salmon spawn about 30 feet off my back deck. Bald eagles fly up and down every day, and I'm actually looking at it right here from where I'm standing. And there's this idea of like life is like the wild waters of my river. There are times when it's torrential downpour. We live in a rainforest, torrential downpour, and the river is just wild. We have snow melt; it gets crazy, right? Kayakers go down. It's waterfalls and all sorts of wonderful things happening. And then there's the summertime, and in the summertime, the water gets really low. It gets really calm, so low and so calm that my sweet three kiddos and their friends can walk across with the dog and play, and it's all sorts of fun. And I find that the river is a good analogy for life, right? There are moments where it's raging and it's crazy and there's so much water moving. Then there's moments where it's calm and it's steady and it's peaceful. And so it's really those three things for me. It's finishing the book, it's creating a community for business leaders so that they can lead more consciously their um, organizations, and then that last one is creating a lot of content for more people to be able to access and really embody the things that you're creating with Outliers Edge, just with a little Dave spin on it. And so those are the three things for me. What about you? What about you?
All right, so I'm going to take that in. All right, I want to give that some breath. And not lies, you're going to hear me answer it here, Dave. I actually realized that I'm someone that responds well to the prompt. So if you can actually ask me the question first, then I will let
Yeah,
my nervous system
love it.
respond to it.
Ooh, love you said that. So if your life was a movie and you were the main character, what is the audience screaming at you
Mm,
right now to do, to say?
all right. This is the pain. Like this is the nervousness hitting it. All right. So the two things that are coming to heart right now, not to mind but to heart, is one of them is the like I think the audience is like telling me to like slow down and speed up. I meet a lot of people, I have a lot of these conversations, I'm doing a lot of these things here, and then like there's an element of like next conversation, next conversation, next conversation, and like and there's like I'm not slowing down enough to like I think they'll be like that person, that's who you want, like go send a message, send an email, like go, whatever it is, just go in there. I could feel that like the audience is watching this and being like the thing he's looking for is right there. He just finished talking to him. Just finished talking to her. Like, go for it. So I feel like there's that. And there's a lot of that, like it's just right there kind of thing. So the other side of this here, so I think it's slow down and speed up on an individual basis. Like I'm meeting a lot of really great people, and I'm not spending the time to develop the relationship. We're making good connection, and like, but we're not like, and I think the audience is like, "Ugh." And on the other side of it, for me, it would be um, similar. It feels similar to me, but it's around the Outliers Edge community overall. And I think that there's a part where I've stopped talking about it explicitly, and the challenge is like, hey, that's the main part of the business outside of when I'm coaching clients. But like the other side of it is like it's what my soul feels like it's on this planet to be and do. And so I think the audience is also screaming at me to just be like, hi, I know you're good at having meeting new people. I know you're good at doing the podcast and live stream. And I know that you're good at like coaching, but like you should be putting your energy into building the community here, not for you, because I think Dave, you would get this. It's like so that they get each other. Right.
Yeah.
Like in the sense,
Hmm.
like if you were like the child there, I would probably be like a group of kids, that would all be in there and be like, let's go play. It's like because I don't think the magic's in me, and I think that the magic's in us. And if we can unlock it, they come
Yeah.
together. And I'm not the audience is screaming and being like, "You're doing other things than building that. Go for it directly. You don't have to go jump through all these hoops and like, no, just you should come be a part of this. Like this is what we're doing. This is
Yeah.
the game we're playing. Do you want to go play this game? Like playground rules. They're not like I have to go do like set up a landing page for you to come and say you want to. No, they're like, do you want to come play ball? Cool. Like we're playing. Like
Yep.
and it's done. It's that simple. And if the answer is no, the answer is no. So that's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. Ooh, I want to appreciate you. Like I had to breathe that one out afterwards. Um, like this is it Outliers, like you see us in real time. I told Dave before we came on here, it's like how we have the conversation is more important than the conversation we have, right?
Mm.
Like Dave, I appreciate you asking me that question because I did not expect my nervous system to cringe with the response that I heard. I did not
Yeah.
expect
Yeah.
that. But like going back to what you're saying, like the Dave who you were versus the Dave that you are right now, and the thousand different decisions, thousand different experiences you needed to have. Like I got that. This was one of those like quintessential experiences that I had because it wasn't just an intellectual exercise. I had to answer it. And not only answer it for you, but answer it in front of my like the people I want to lead and say, like, I'm not showing up the way I want to show up. And that releases something actually. I feel less of an imposter. I feel less of a fraud. I just feel.
Niiamah, thank you for being that courageous and for leading us that well, because that takes courage. And if you're listening, watching, and you're like, oh, maybe like this is a good example of what this looks like, because it takes courage just to ask the question sincerely and then to answer it and to share it with anyone. That may be so many first steps.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing it and showing other people how to do it, brother, because that's beautiful.
Dave, I appreciate it. And this has been a really fun conversation. And I will listen to the audience screaming at me. This will not be the last time we talk. We will continue to develop our relationship from here. All right. My ask of you, Dave, as we're gonna wrap up here, and the way that I want to wrap up is one, make sure that any outlier knows how they can go deeper down the journey with you, right? So whether they want to follow the journey of the book that you're writing, the community that you're part of, that either they themselves are a shaman CEO or know someone who might be, or wants to work with you directly in your marketing company, like what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. So if you want to reach out via email, you can reach out dave.valentine@finch.com. Finch like the bird. That's my personal email. You can also follow me on social media at real dval. I have not been posting a whole lot lately, but that's starting to change again. So if you're interested in finding me, those are the two best ways.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And then the last question we ask here is, earlier we had an outside, which was something that you wanted to share with outliers. But I think it's really important for me. Like every time we come together, there's the premise for me is for it to be a life changing conversation, right? We don't like it doesn't have to be life changing in the moment, but like I like to leave space for it. So, would you mind sharing with us what's an insight or a takeaway that you're leaving with for yourself after this conversation? And if nothing showed up, like don't feel like you need to make anything up there. But I would love to just see if there's anything there.
I think an insight for me is, man, I just love you. Like
Mm,
you and I really hadn't had a whole lot of interaction prior to us in this conversation. At least, we've had some emails going back and forth, and just getting to know you, brother. And I'm like, man, I'm in your corner because I love what you're up to, and I see what you're doing with your life and with this project, man. And I'm like, all right, man, however I can help, I want to. So for me, it's always about connection and finding people that are doing beautiful work in the world, and you're certainly doing that, man. So super excited to connect with you.
well, I appreciate you, Dave. I appreciate you. Outliers, this is it, right? We're like, there's a number of different things that we can take away from here. Please, like, let's continue the conversation. Put it in the chat. Go send Dave an email. Like follow him on social. Like, let's go out and we'll be looking out for the book whenever it comes out here. And outliers, if you want to continue having conversations like this, we do this all on the regular inside of the Outliers Edge world. You can go to school.com/outlier, then join us. It's free. Just come be a part of it all. All right. So we're gonna wrap up for today. Know that I'm in your corner. And until the next time we talk, be you on purpose.